Hello class, and for today's lesson we will be focusing on getting to the next area known as the Undead Parish. But before we go any further, we're going to need a lot more arrows so that we can do a little side quest thingy to get a very powerful weapon that we will, well, not really be using, but it's nice to show. So we're going to need more arrows, as I have said earlier. So we're going to run down to the Undead Merchant and buy some. So, as I have said before, you can kick these guys' shields down. And you may be noticing that I am finally one-hitting enemies. This is because we have leveled up enough strength to be able to do so. And we are only a few strength points away from using the Zweihander. So, yeah, that's that. So let's just go ahead and run down to the merchant guy and buy some of those large arrows he has. So, and go to the ammo section and buy as many large arrows as you can. As you can see, we already have 10, so let's just go ahead and buff that up to 28.
Oh.
I'm thinking we might need a few more, actually, so we're going to be spending a lot of time with these arrows. And that was just me checking to see if we had any soul items left over, but we didn't. So we're just going to go ahead and kill these guys. These should give us enough souls to afford at least a couple more arrows. So that'll help. Yes, as you can see, the large arrows cost 50 souls, and as you can see, we have a little more than 100. So we should be able to afford a couple more, and that should be enough to do what we intend to do. So let's go ahead and buy a couple more, and head back up to the bonfire. So you might be wondering what I plan to do with this 5 humanity. I don't actually plan to do anything with it really right now, just hold on to it. It'll increase our item discovery rate, which makes for a better walkthrough as I can show you the drops of the enemies. Plus it gives us a little bit more curse resistance and a few other buffs, so I'm just going to hold on to it and try not to lose it because humanity are quite valuable. You might think that they're not all that rare, but well, it can be quite challenging to get them. So for now, I'm going to show you, let's go this way, yeah. Let's show you how to get the Drake Sword. Now, many bosses have tail weapons, where they have a longish tail, and if you cut off said tail, you will get a boss weapon, which is actually quite useful, but in many cases is not that quite as good as the weapon you're currently using. So go ahead and switch to your bow, and equip it. So zoom in using the left bumper, as I've showed you before. You might notice it moving back and forth. You just gotta time the shot right. I cut out a lot of arrow usage here, so beware of bad editing. So don't worry about it when he does that. Just wait for his tail to come back. Bad editing, more bad editing. As you can see, we took a little more than 10 arrows, and we got the Drake Sword. Now, it's not all that good, and a lot of people consider it a noob trap. As you can see, it has very high base damage, but it does not scale at all. So we're not going to be using that much. Although it does do more damage than the Great Scythe at this point. The Great Scythe has much better range and a better move set. So we're just going to stick with that for now. So go ahead and switch back to your shield, and you might be wondering what's past that guy on the bridge there. That's just another way to get to the area that we are going. Now we're going to go the little more hazardous way. Take a few risks, you know. Anyway, we're going to switch to our faster rolling setup here, and then we can mid-roll. Now we're going to wait for the dragon to breathe fire. Now you may notice, if we sit here, when the dragon kills the enemies, we get 555 souls. If you repeat this method, you can actually get quite a few souls. So it's just another little nifty little soul grinding thing that doesn't require any actual fighting. That'll be the Claymore, and it shows what happens when you run straight up at the dragon. The Claymore is basically a less powerful, less strength requiring version of the Zweihander. It's also a little bit faster. So, as you can see, we could use it right now if you wanted to, but overall we're just going to stick with the Great Scythe, as I've said before. And we are only 2 strength points away from the Zweihander, so yeah, almost there. Anyway, let's go ahead and run back up to the dragon bridge. I'm going to show you a neat little trick that lets you get by him into that room that he appears to be guarding, which also happens to be one of the ways into the area that we are trying to get. So, as I've noticed it before, we'll just go ahead and run past. And as you can see, we got another 555 souls. So yeah. And now we wait. The dragon will eventually get aggravated at us just standing here. And he should fly down any second now. There we go. Now the dragon is at our level. So, just run past him, and his flame completely misses us. Go ahead and grab some loot here. It's a soul item. Let's hope we're lucky and he doesn't breathe fire this way. And we are now officially in the end of Parish. And as you can see, the dragon will fly away because we have entered the room he is trying to guard. So no more dragon. We have successfully gotten rid of the dragon. So, light the bonfire. And, yep. Obvious messages get humanities. Anyway, go ahead and reset the bonfire. We can't level up quite yet. Let's go ahead and repair a bit. As you see, a lot of our armor needs some repairing. Nothing to really put away right now. So let's go show you this little side room here that actually contains a little covenant that we can join. But actually we can't. So don't worry about those guys, they're just sitting moping in the corners. This is the Altar of Sunlight. You can't interact with it right now because you don't have 25 faith, the requirement to join the covenant. It's the only covenant with a real requirement that I know of, apart from getting to it. As you can see, we only have 11, so we're not going to worry about that. Although if you do use the white sign soapstone to let yourself be summoned, then every time you help a host beat a boss, the faith requirement goes down by 5. So beat enough bosses as a co-op phantom and you will be able to join this covenant. But for now we're just going to pass it by because the only thing it has and really offers is a lightning bolt spell that needs 20 faith to use. So it would be kind of pointless to join anyway. So we're just going to do a little bit of grinding here. As you can see, the dragon will no longer breathe fire upon their heads. So we're going to have to adjust our own little skills here. And we're not quite there yet, so let's go kill those two guys down at the bottom. Heavy armor makes you run much slower. If you do want a faster rolling setup, you can stick with what we have described earlier. In my opinion, that would be the better way to play, but, well, it is much easier to resist damage with a heavy armor setup. So, let's go ahead and kill that last guy, and hope we have enough souls. Run back to the bonfire, ever so slowly. And almost there. Just keep going. And there we go. And we still don't have enough souls. Wow, we've been leveling up like crazy recently. So let's just go ahead and open this gate. It leads to the next area of the game, the true undead parish. And if you had not gone this way, that gate would be locked, and the dragon would still be there. So go ahead and kill this guy. And one more. And we're not going to ignore that area for now. So down there is the other way through. It leads to some poison rats who can drop humanity frequently. And up there is a Black Knight. Another one, except this time he has a much, much bigger sword. So I actually had a lot of failed runs trying to kill this Black Knight. So this is the last and successful one. I've been trying to use the Great Scythe, but eventually I figured out the Drake Sword does more damage, so it would be better for backstabbing. So let's just go ahead and use that. So this was a little bit of a different attack pattern. As you can see, his sword is much bigger, but other than that, it's pretty much the same. Might be wondering where all our souls went. I did not lose them permanently, don't worry. I instead spent them on leveling up once, because I had managed to lure this guy down to the bottom and get killed by him there. So I have gained an extra level in the meantime. As the Drake Sword's two-handed heavy attack, it does a little earthquake move that does quite a bit of damage, but it reduces the durability by quite a bit. That is the Black Knight Great Sword. It's a very powerful strength weapon, but it requires a very heavy stat investment, and we're not going to go for that. As you can see, 32 strength and 18 dexterity. So that is not worth it in my opinion, although if you are willing to invest, it is quite a good weapon. Although for now, we're just going to stick with what we have. So let's go ahead and run back down. And yeah, let's go ahead and reset the bonfire. The Black Knight will not respawn, so we don't have to worry about that. Yeah. I filmed this video in 2 segments, in case you're wondering. So segment 2 begins now. So let's go ahead and run up and kill this guy again. Yeah, as you can see, these guys are a much more powerful variant of the armored hollows in the previous area, so they take more hits to kill. So wait for this guy ever so sluggishly trotting along. As you can see, that other guy from up there is running, because he's one of the sword variants. They're much faster. So go ahead and kill him. You can still one-shot them. Ah, it's a Tinite shard. That's good. We're going to be able to spend these at the end of the video to upgrade our weapons, particularly the Zweihander, which we will be using. Now, the Greatsword does not have infinite range, as I have clearly pointed out here, and these guys are very capable of dodging. So let's just go ahead and launch a heavy attack there. You might be wondering about that really big boar thing. Don't worry, there are a couple easy tactics you can use to defeat him. The best of which, in my opinion, involves going up here. So, 2 crossbow hollows being defended by this spear hollow. Go ahead and finish him off. And these guys don't have shields, so they're much easier to kill. As you can see, it's that one shot there was obviously a counterattack, as we were not able to one-shot these guys. So you see the boars waiting down there, and the rest of the enemies have come up the stairs. So we're gonna go ahead and wait for them here. Don't worry, this shouldn't take long. This is one of these sword variants. He's running. So go ahead and kill him. And that item there is called an alluring skull. It draws specific enemies towards it by mimicking a soul mass output or whatever. So anyway, we're not going to bother equipping it into our hotbar, we're just going to use it straight from the menu. So let's go ahead and throw this down directly into the fire. This draws the boar towards it, and he will pretty much just put himself into the fire, dealing quite a bit of damage. So yeah, back into the fire. So now he's being a little bit derpy, running around in circles and getting himself stuck in a wall. And he managed to run into the other fire while he was at it. So let's see how much an arrow does. As you can see, he's very heavily armored, so it does like 5-6 damage. So it's obviously not worth it, considering those are even the large arrows. So let's go ahead and run down. And this is me being extremely lucky, but it also gives me a little bit of an opportunity to show you guys a neat little glitch thing, or a trick to defeating this guy. So this guy's stuck in the wall, can't turn around. As you can see, even our melee attacks from his less armored backside do little damage, and he does have a back attack. So this is me vainly attempting to show you the most effective way to beat this guy. That's obviously not working. Let's try one more time. There. You can backstab this guy for a ridiculous amount of damage. That's pretty much the only way to beat him, except for luring him into the fires. So yeah, if we were extremely lucky, we would have gotten the helmet of a very heavy armor set. So it is a heavy armor set, but it can only be dropped by this guy and 2 variants that cannot be backstabbed later in the game. So yeah, look forward to it. Anyway, this is supposed to be a little ambush where those guys were supposed to walk to the sides, but as you can see, they kind of didn't. So yeah, let's just go ahead and run up to where that other guy went, killing his mates along the way. So up the stairs, and there's another one. So yeah, these guys are pretty much the swarmers of Dark Souls. They'll mob on you in any opportunity. You can see we're getting a little low on health, so let's go ahead and take a swig of Estus. And this is this is an interesting little item. It's called the Mystery Key. It unlocks a secret cell door that I'll be showing you guys later in the video. It's an NPC that gives you one of the items required to level up in the Sunlight Bros Covenant, or the Warriors of Sunlight, the guys that you need to interact with that altar with 25 faith for. So it probably would not be wise to bother with it, but well, he gets out on his own anyway. And if you rescue him, he gives you a sunlight medal, so why not? So let's go ahead and climb up this ladder too, as this room is pretty big and boring. And there is white fog. Don't worry about it, no bosses here yet. My philosophy in games is go the wrong way first, so let's go down here. Now if you just slightly push the stick forward, you start walking. This actually quiets your movements for a bit, and as you can see, he doesn't notice us until we're almost on top of him. If I acted a little bit earlier, I would have been able to get a backstab. But I did not, so don't have to worry about that. Now here is a shield a lot of people tend to use, but isn't actually all that good. It's called the Night Shield. It has higher damage, but that has no relevance for shields at all. Stability and resistances are all much worse. So go ahead and don't use that one. So, let's kill this guy first. It's always wise to kill every enemy, as I learned while fighting the Black Knight. There was one time where I failed to kill that guy that's watching the little arch there, and he followed me up to the Black Knight area and started attacking me as well as the Black Knight. So that was not fun. So yeah, always kill pretty much every enemy you come across. So this was supposed to be like a two-pronged attack, and this is me like derpy flailing around, showing you really bad camera angles. And now I have them both on one side of me, giving me a heavy advantage as I can take them both out at once. So, as you can see, they're being very cautious and leaving their shields up, so I can't really get any damage on them. And then he takes a drink of Estus, so I just go ahead and smack him for it. No Estus for him. More of the same. Just kick him and bash him a couple times. So yeah, run down this way. And make a left. Actually, don't make a left. That's the way to the large open courtyard area where the Boar used to be. You might have noticed the gate behind him. That is where the gate opens up into. We'll talk about that more later in the next episode. And that is what happens when you rush blindly into areas you know nothing about. You get swarmed by 2 shield hollows, and then attacked by a crossbow dude. Not fun. So go ahead and kill these guys, and run down and grab the crossbow guy while you're at it. And I missed. Locking on is very important. So, as you can see, he does have a melee option now, but he still doesn't have a shield, making him ridiculously easy. So run down this little hallway. It's actually really needlessly long. I don't see why I have to make this so long, guys. I guess it adds atmosphere, I don't know. There's a little bit of rubble on the ground here. You might be hearing blacksmith sounds in the background. I'll quiet down so you can hear them for a moment. Yeah, that is the blacksmith that we're about to visit and upgrade our weapons with. And here's a neat little bonfire. And we can level up. Wait a minute, we're at 24. Hallelujah, it is finally Zweihander time. Let's go ahead and repair most of our weapons here. And equip the weapon that we've been building up to for a really long time. So, it does much more damage. And it looks way more awesome. So that is its quick attack. It's actually really slow, but that doesn't mean it doesn't obliterate people. It's a heavy attack. It's really powerful. Two-handed, pretty much the same, but more awesome looking. And as usual, the kick attack and the jump attack is basically just pretty much the same. So yeah, it's a pretty awesome looking weapon. Once we get an armor set to match it, we'll look really, really awesome and work really, really awesome. So here's the blacksmith dude. We'll talk more about embers when we get them. So go to the reinforced weapon page, scroll down to Zweihander, and it requires a certain amount of souls along with the upgrade material for the said weapon. So we have plenty of titanite shards, but we don't actually have enough souls. As you can see, he sells the weaponsmith box and armorsmith box, allowing us to upgrade our armor weapons at the bonfire, along with a few shields that we don't really need because they're exactly the same as ours, and ammunition. He also sells titanite shards, but we're not going to bother with that right now. So go ahead and consume this, and we now have just enough souls to upgrade our Zweihander once. So upgrade it once, and we still have enough titanite shards to upgrade it at least once more. So as you can see that we've upgraded it, it does more base damage and more scaling damage. So that's pretty nice. As soon as we can get more souls, we'll upgrade it more. So that's all for today, I think. Yeah. Class is dismissed. Bye, everybody.